Okay, actually, I want to show you one more version of the FET before we go on, okay? This is called an enhancement mode FET, and I guess they're much more common than the depletion mode device we talked about a moment ago. Here we are. Here, let's start with a sketch. So I'll try to draw a cross section again. So here's our semiconductor, and here's the gate insulator. But I'm not going to draw a separate channel now. You'll see where the channel comes from in a second. The semiconductor is lightly p-doped. And then we have our contacts. We have the gate electrode. Okay. And we have the source and the drain. Very good. And let's imagine now that the source and drain connectors, these were made by depositing metal on the surface of the semiconductor. But let's imagine that the metal contains within it donor impurities. So once the source and drain are deposited, if the semiconductor is heated up, those source and drain those donor impurities will diffuse into the semiconductor and create small regions around the connectors, which are N-type. Okay? Very good. Now we have our device. And if the voltage at the gate is 0 volts or negative, the device will be in the off state, as is shown here. The PN junction between the source and the substrate, or the drain and the substrate, will prevent current from flowing from the source to the drain. All right, so how do we turn this on? Well, here, let me make a few copies of my picture here. And let's imagine now that we now make the gate positively charged relative to the source and the drain. Well, that corresponds to applying a voltage across these PN junctions between gate and source and gate and drain. And those will cause the depletion zone for each of these junctions to shift, so that the N-type regions will expand into the P-type substrate. If we make the gate voltage positive and large enough, then these will actually expand to the point where they join. Like so. And now we have a conducting path between the source and the drain. And the transistor is on. Well, it's very much like the depletion mode FET that we talked about a moment ago. Only in this case, there were no electrons in the channel before we applied the positive gate voltage, but by applying a positive gate voltage, we pulled electrons into the channel. Okay? In fact, in some sense, there wasn't any channel before we applied the positive gate voltage. But this works just the same as the depletion zone device, and in much the same way. Okay, here, let's pause here.